The Worst Prophecies of Nostradamus and Baba Vanga for 2025. Across history, a few names echo through time with a mysterious grip on the human imagination too of the most powerful being Baba Vanga and Nostradamus. Though they lived centuries apart and came from entirely different worlds, their visions still haunt and fascinate us, especially as we step deeper into the uncertain waters of 2025. Today, as technology evolves, climates shift, and society stands on edge, their prophecies suddenly feel too close for comfort. Baba Vanga, the blind seer from Bulgaria, stunned many with predictions that seemed impossible at the time, yet, believers say, they came true with chilling accuracy. Nostradamus, a 16th century astrologer and mystic, encoded his insights into cryptic poems, which modern interpreters now link to pandemics, wars, and political upheavals. But the real question lingers. What did they see for this year, for 2025? Could their ancient words be warnings for our modern age, or are we simply projecting our fears onto their riddles? In this video, we unravel the most disturbing predictions they made for 2025. From the fall of global powers to biological threats, from celestial contact to the crumbling of royal legacies, each prophecy will be explored side by side with today's headlines. This isn't about blind belief or fear-mongering. It's an invitation to reflect on how the past might speak to our present and to question what future we're creating. So stay with us until the end, because the final prophecy might just shift the way you see everything around you. Welcome to the journey of wisdom. Number 1. A great conflict in Europe. As we delve deeper into the haunting prophecies left behind by Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, one prediction stands out with chilling urgency: a great conflict erupting in Europe in the year 2025. For those familiar with their visions, this particular forecast is not just a grim possibility, it's a dire warning that echoes through centuries, drawing unsettling parallels with today's geopolitical climate. Baba Vanga, known for her uncanny foresight, foretold of a major war igniting in Europe, sparked by the rising tension between Russia and Ukraine. But in her vision, this was merely the beginning. The conflict, she claimed, would grow far beyond a regional skirmish, ensnaring other nations into a sweeping catastrophe. Her words painted a Europe transformed not by the culture and heritage it's known for, but as a battleground silenced by destruction and devastated by modern warfare. These aren't just dramatic lines in a forgotten manuscript. They resonate in a time where uncertainty dominates global headlines. Nostradamus, the enigmatic seer of the Renaissance, also alluded to a devastating war in what he termed the Old World. His cryptic phrase, "fire from the sky," and the imagery of ancient soil soaked in blood have long puzzled scholars, but many interpret it as a reference to aerial warfare or the use of nuclear and advanced weapons tools of destruction that humanity, for all its advancement, has failed to restrain. When we consider how these predictions mirror real fears today, such as the proliferation of nuclear arms, the rise of AI in military strategy, and the talk of tactical weaponry once thought unimaginable, it becomes harder to dismiss them as mere coincidence. Analysts and researchers are increasingly connecting the dots between the prophecies and the tense standoff between world powers, especially as diplomatic relations strain under the weight of economic interests, cyber threats, and ideological divides. The reality is that if such a war were to occur, its devastation would ripple far beyond Europe's borders. We wouldn't just witness military clashes, we'd face a global refugee crisis, food shortages, skyrocketing inflation, and a breakdown in international trade. Social systems would be tested to their limits, and the ordinary lives of millions, even in places far removed from the front lines, could be upended. Experts caution that the next large-scale conflict might not produce victors, but only survivors, as the tools of modern warfare threaten not just the enemy, but the very structure of civilization. In light of these dire predictions, we are left with a pressing question: are we truly on the path to destruction? Or are these visions simply cautionary tales born from our deep-rooted fear of history repeating itself? Perhaps the real purpose of these prophecies is not to predict, but to provoke us into reflection. Now more than ever, we must recognize the value of peace not as a passive hope, but as a collective responsibility. For those of us watching world events unfold from our homes, our workplaces, or through the screens in our hands, this is a call to stay informed, to encourage dialogue, and to support leaders who prioritize diplomacy over aggression. We can't change the prophecies of the past, but we can choose how we respond to them in the present. Let this be a time not of panic, but of preparation, a moment to nurture compassion, resist division, and safeguard the future we share. Number 2. Contact with extraterrestrial life. Let's move into one of the most extraordinary and mind-bending predictions for the year 2025, Baba Vanga's prophecy of direct contact with extraterrestrial life. Yes, alongside warnings of conflict and upheaval on Earth, this visionary foresaw something that could challenge the very core of how we see ourselves, the official confirmation that we are not alone in the universe. Just pause for a moment and think, what would it mean if such a revelation became reality in our lifetime? According to Baba Vanga, humanity is set to encounter a moment so pivotal that it redefines the relationship between Earth and the cosmos. This isn't just about mysterious lights in the sky or hidden files. It's about open contact, a global acknowledgement that life beyond Earth exists and is ready to be known. Now, from a scientific perspective, this would be revolutionary. It could completely transform our understanding of where we come from and where we're going. Technologies that once only appeared in science fiction, instant communication, clean, limitless energy, advanced healing techniques, might suddenly become part of our everyday lives. What breakthroughs in science, medicine, or technology could be sparked by such an encounter? But with great discovery often comes great disruption. How would our social structures and beliefs cope with such a shift? Many religious teachings are rooted in the belief that humans hold a unique place in the universe. If we suddenly discover that we are just one among many intelligent species, what happens to those beliefs? Would it weaken faith or inspire it to evolve into something more universal and inclusive? This is where the prophecy turns even more thought-provoking. Some interpretations go further, suggesting that extraterrestrials may have influenced human history for a very long time, perhaps guiding us or quietly observing as we advance. Are they guardians, ensuring we don't destroy ourselves? Or are they simply curious watchers, waiting for the right time to step forward? While some might welcome such beings with open arms, others could respond with suspicion, fear, or even hostility. Baba Vanga's vision hints at this social turbulence, how hard it will be for many to accept a reality so radically different from what they've always believed. As a society, how do we deal with such massive paradigm shifts? Do we open our minds and embrace change, or retreat into denial and conflict? And while this moment of contact could signal progress and evolution for the human race, the prophecy also comes with caution. It points to global instability, including the looming death of a powerful world leader and the possible use of biological weapons, suggesting that even as we take steps forward, we risk stepping into new dangers if we aren't grounded in wisdom and cooperation. So, what should we take from this astonishing possibility? First, it reminds us to stay curious, but also cautious. As we stretch our imagination to embrace what's beyond Earth, we must also tend to what's happening here at home, our relationships, our communities, and our responsibilities to each other. We don't know if contact will truly come in 2025, but we do know this: how we respond to great change, whether from the stars or within ourselves, will define the kind of world we leave behind. The lesson is clear: stay open-minded, but stay rooted in compassion, unity, and peace. Because whether the future brings answers from the sky or challenges on Earth, it is our shared humanity that will carry us forward. Number 3. Death of a key leader and biological threats. Let's now turn to one of the most unsettling and politically charged prophecies for 2025, the predicted death of a major world leader, none other than Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to Baba Vanga, this isn't just a natural passing or retirement, it's an assassination carried out by someone from within his own country. Now think about that for a second. What would it mean, not just for Russia, but for the entire world, if such a dramatic event were to take place? The truth is, the death of a figure as powerful and polarizing as Putin wouldn't just be the end of a political career, it could mark the beginning of a global shakeup, unlike anything we've seen in recent times. Leaders of this level don't operate in isolation. They are at the center of networks, alliances, military strategies, and economic decisions that ripple across the globe. So, if this prophecy were to come true, can you imagine how quickly other nations would move to fill that void, or how existing tensions might explode into something much more dangerous? Russia's internal stability would likely be tested, and countries around the world, especially those involved in current conflicts, would be forced to reassess their diplomatic and military positions almost overnight. Would such a power vacuum lead to negotiation and renewal, or would it drag nations into a darker era of suspicion, retaliation, and uncertainty? And from a deeper perspective, what drives a prophecy like this to carry so much emotional weight? Perhaps it's not just about the individual leader, but what they represent: control, history, unresolved tension, and the delicate balance of world order. Could it be that Baba Vanga's vision is not only about one person's fate, but a symbolic warning of how fragile leadership and peace truly are in today's world? If we look at the pattern of history, moments like this, where a key figure is suddenly removed, often leave a country at a crossroads. Will it collapse into chaos, or emerge with a chance to rebuild something more just and stable? That depends on the people, the systems in place, and the wisdom of those left behind to lead. So ask yourself, are we, as a global society, truly prepared for sudden changes at the top? Do we have the resilience and the unity needed to respond wisely, or are we too divided to handle such a shock? Baba Vanga's prophecy is more than a prediction, it's a mirror, asking us to look honestly at our world and think about how we react to power, to change, and to the uncertainty of the future. In the end, whether this event happens or not, the real value lies in how it challenges us to stay informed, stay grounded, and support peace and leadership that prioritizes humanity over power. You've come this far because you're not afraid to explore the unknown. If you're ready to uncover the darkest visions of what might lie ahead, type "eyes open" in the comments. Stay with us until the end. What's coming next might change the way you see the future forever. Number 4. Biological threats. One of the most sobering and deeply unsettling warnings for 2025 comes from both Nostradamus and Baba Vanga, who foresaw the emergence of biological threats, specifically the use of bioweapons by unidentified actors, potentially states or powerful non-state groups. In a time when the world is still healing from the wounds left by the COVID-19 pandemic, this prediction doesn't feel far-fetched, it feels alarmingly possible. Nostradamus spoke of plagues upon plagues, while Baba Vanga warned of diseases released by human hands, not nature, hinting at intentional harm. What makes this even more disturbing is that we now live in a world where biological engineering, once confined to high-tech labs, is becoming increasingly accessible. A single act of recklessness could spark an outbreak with devastating consequences. These aren't just hypotheticals. History has shown us how quickly diseases can spread and how fragile our systems are when faced with the unknown. The mental scars from our recent pandemic of lockdowns, loss, and isolation have barely faded, and the thought of a deliberate biological attack stirs a much deeper fear. As the Buddha once said, "Health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship." When our health is threatened at a global scale, everything else begins to crumble. These prophecies aren't just predictions, they are stark reminders of what we stand to lose if we become complacent. In today's world, geopolitical tensions are running high, and the temptation for nations or extremist groups to use bioweapons as tools of war or leverage is not unthinkable. The psychological impact would be profound fear, mistrust, and social fragmentation would spread just as quickly as any pathogen. It's worth asking yourself, how prepared are we really? Not just in terms of science and medicine, but in how we come together as communities when fear takes over. A famous quote by Albert Einstein resonates here. "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." These prophecies, therefore, are not just ominous messages about doom, they are calls to action. For governments, it means strengthening global cooperation and biosecurity. For scientists and doctors, it means continuing the hard work of disease detection and response. But for you and me, it means staying informed, supporting public health efforts, and choosing compassion over division. Even in the face of invisible threats, our greatest weapon remains unity and awareness. Just like in the teachings of the Buddha, where mindfulness is the path to clarity, we too must be alert, not alarmed. The future may carry risks, but it also offers a chance to do better, to be more prepared, and to protect each other with wisdom and care. Number 5. When the economy breaks and the crown slips. Let's take a closer look at one of the most intense and far-reaching prophecies attributed to Nostradamus for the year 2025, warning not just of war, but of a global economic crisis so severe it could lead to famine, societal unrest, and even the weakening of long-standing institutions like the British monarchy. According to his vision, the world may face an era where food prices rise sharply, hitting levels that spark widespread fear and anger. And if you've noticed how much groceries already cost in recent years, you might be wondering, how bad could it really get? Nostradamus seems to suggest that this economic hardship won't be limited to stock markets or financial institutions. It will strike at the most basic human need, access to food. When families struggle to afford a meal, when grocery shelves become scarce, and when livelihoods collapse, people rise not always with hope, but sometimes with desperation. Could this be the tipping point for social movements or riots in parts of the world already burdened by inequality? Think about how fragile our systems have become, supply chains disrupted by conflict, pandemics, or climate disasters. What happens when these threads finally snap? This prophecy paints a picture of a chain reaction where economies break down, businesses collapse, and trust in governments starts to erode. It's not just about the loss of money, but the loss of security, structure, and stability. And in the midst of this economic storm, another surprising prediction emerges. Nostradamus hints at a major blow to the British monarchy, particularly the reign of King Charles. He doesn't give specifics, but suggests the king's peace will be short-lived, and the monarchy's role may no longer hold the relevance or reverence it once did. Is this a symbolic statement about the fall of outdated systems, or a literal event that could shake a nation? As many experts point out, history often shifts when old institutions can't keep up with modern demands. And when the people no longer see tradition as strength, change is inevitable. The idea of the monarchy losing its grip may be shocking to some, but to others, it represents a global awakening, a time when people start to question who really holds power and why. So what does this mean for us, right now, in the present? Are we prepared for an economic storm that could ripple across borders and deepen divides? What can we do to protect our families, support our communities, and build systems that are fairer, more resilient, and more just? As the Buddha wisely said, chaos is inherent in all compounded things. Strive on with diligence. That means we can't turn away from the warnings, whether they come from mystics or modern-day analysts. Instead, we must use them as motivation to build stronger foundations. Be mindful of how we consume, invest, and engage with the world. Stay informed, be adaptable, and never underestimate the power of collective awareness and compassion. Because in the end, no matter how unsettling the prophecy, the lesson is clear. We hold the power to shape the future, not through fear, but through conscious action and shared responsibility. Number 6. A cosmic catastrophe. The asteroid threat. Let's talk about one of the most spine-chilling prophecies connected to 2025. And this one doesn't come from earthly wars or politics, it comes from space itself. Nostradamus, known for his cryptic yet compelling quatrains, hinted at a massive asteroid that could be heading toward Earth, a potential catastrophe that, if real, might have global consequences beyond anything humanity has experienced. Now, before we dismiss this as pure science fiction, let's ask ourselves, how prepared are we really for an event of such cosmic scale? Nostradamus didn't provide exact coordinates or dates, but his words have long stirred debates among scholars, especially now, as space agencies like NASA and ESA are tracking an increasing number of near-Earth objects each year. Some believe the prophecy aligns with these trends, fueling concerns that our planet could face a major impact in the near future. This isn't just talk. Governments around the world have quietly invested in underground shelters, and even private billionaires are reportedly preparing bunkers, not just for nuclear fallout, but for global natural disasters. Why would they do that unless they believe there's some real risk? It raises deeper questions. Do we as ordinary people have the right tools, knowledge, or support to survive such a cosmic event? More importantly, are these preparations a sign of genuine danger, or are they being influenced by centuries-old prophecies that now echo louder in times of global uncertainty? The idea that a prophecy can shape our actions and reactions is not new. Some believe Nostradamus's words aren't just predictions, but catalysts planting seeds of fear or urgency that lead to real decisions with real-world consequences. Could it be that in believing a disaster is coming, people begin to behave in ways that indirectly bring about chaos or crisis? In the Buddhist teachings, it's said, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." And this brings up a vital point. If our collective mindset focuses only on doom, are we unknowingly shaping that reality ourselves? Or can we use these warnings, whether true or not, as motivation to become better stewards of the planet and each other? The growing conversation around asteroid threats has also sparked serious scientific efforts. Programs to track, deflect, or destroy potential threats are in development, and international space cooperation is improving, which shows that fear can be turned into progress when guided by wisdom and unity. So, I ask you this: should we fear the sky or learn from it? Should we panic at the idea of a prophecy or prepare with purpose and responsibility? Maybe the true value of Nostradamus's asteroid warning lies not in whether a rock really hits Earth, but in how we respond to the possibility of large-scale threats. If we respond with division, hoarding, and fear, the damage begins even before impact. But if we respond with cooperation, compassion, and science, then we've already started to protect what matters most each other. Still watching? That means you're curious, brave, and ready to seek the truth. Comment below with Truth Seeker if you're ready to face what 2025 might bring, and prepare yourself with awareness and insight. Don't click away, there are still shocking revelations ahead that you won't want to miss. Stay until the end to uncover what these predictions could mean for all of us. A path through prophecy. Wisdom for facing the future. Prophecies, especially the darkest ones, are not meant to paralyze us with fear. They are mirrors, showing us the cracks in our world and inviting us to ask, are we ready? Not just to survive, but to grow. As we explore the unsettling visions tied to 2025, let's not see them as fate set in stone, but as a wake-up call to live with greater awareness, compassion, and responsibility. This moment is not about fear, it's about preparation, not just physical, but mental and spiritual. So how can we prepare wisely? Number 1. Choose peace over panic. In a world where news headlines are often filled with tension, war, political instability, and discord among nations, it's easy to feel overwhelmed or even afraid. But during such times, there is a vital truth we must not forget. Choosing peace is not a sign of weakness, it is a conscious and courageous act. The Buddha once said, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." This ancient wisdom reminds us that peace is not something passive or accidental. It is an active path we must walk, especially when everything around us seems uncertain. When chaos arises, whether in the world or in our personal lives, we are given an invitation not to panic but to practice stillness. The calm mind is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It's easy to shout when others are shouting, but it takes wisdom and inner strength to lower your voice, listen, and truly understand. Choosing peace starts not on battlefields or political stages, but in the simple, daily moment show. We respond when a loved one speaks in anger, how we drive through traffic, how we speak to ourselves when things go wrong. These are the small altars where inner peace is either sacrificed or nurtured. When we meet conflict with understanding and disagreement with compassion, we become part of a quiet revolution, shift toward harmony that begins with one person but can ripple out to many. As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully taught, peace in the world begins with peace in oneself. Let that sink in. We cannot offer calm to the world if we ourselves are tangled in turmoil. And so, in our homes, in our conversations, even in our digital interactions, we must ask ourselves, am I spreading calm or adding to the noise? We live in a fast-paced society where reacting quickly often feels like a necessity. But wisdom asks us to pause, to reflect, to consider not just what is happening, but how we are choosing to meet it. The truth is, peace takes more strength than panic. Panic is instinctual, peace is intentional. Panic narrows our vision, peace expands it. Panic is contagious, but so is calm. And if you can be the one to bring a still heart into a tense room, a soft word into a hard conversation, then you are doing the work of a peacemaker, which is among the noblest callings of all. The Dhammapada says, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." These are not just poetic lines, they are practical instructions for living wisely in an unwise world. So, the next time you feel the pull of fear or the pressure of conflict, pause and take a breath. Ground yourself. Ask, what would peace do here? It could be walking away from an argument, turning off the news for a moment, or simply offering a kind word where it's needed most. In this age, the true revolution is not in shouting louder, but in listening deeper. By choosing peace, not only do we protect our own minds from turmoil, but we also offer others the same chance. And as we grow older and face more complex challenges, let us become known not for how we resisted, but for how we remained rooted in compassion. This truly is wisdom for facing the future, not by fearing it, but by preparing our hearts to meet it with clarity, calm, and courage. Number 2, stay open-minded but grounded. Let's talk about something that might feel distant now, but could one day become real. What if we discover life beyond Earth? For many, that would shake the foundations of what they've believed their whole lives. Ideas about who we are, why we're here, and what's out there would all be up for rethinking. But rather than approach this possibility with fear or resistance, we need to start cultivating a mindset that's both open-minded and grounded. Being open-minded doesn't mean believing everything you hear or losing yourself in fantasy. It means being willing to listen, to learn, and to sit with mystery without rushing to control it or shut it down. And being grounded means not drifting so far into the unknown that you lose touch with your values, your clarity, or your connection to others. These two, openness and grounding, are like wings and roots. One helps you rise to meet new horizons, the other keeps you steady when the winds of change start blowing. So let's ask ourselves, if something completely unexpected were to arrive in our world, whether it's life from another planet or simply a future we didn't see coming, how would we respond? Would we close our doors out of fear or open our hearts in curiosity? Would we cling to old ideas that no longer serve or adapt with grace and courage? The truth is, the way we meet the future starts with how we meet today. Are you practicing kindness even when it's hard? Are you willing to admit when you don't know something and learn from someone else? Do you recognize that we are all part of something bigger and that unity matters more than being right? You see, whatever comes, whether from the stars or from the shifting winds of time, or greatest strength won't be in what we know, but in how we care. Be curious, not judgmental, Walt Whitman once said, and that might be one of the wisest ways to meet the unknown, because curiosity keeps our hearts soft and judgment builds walls. And in a time when humanity could be called to stretch its view of life, we'll need more softness, more listening, more shared wonder. This isn't just about aliens or other planets, it's about how we deal with difference, with uncertainty, with anything that challenges our comfort zones. So think about it. How open are you, truly open to ideas that push you beyond what you've known? And what helps you stay steady even when you're not sure what comes next? These are the real questions of the future, and they're not waiting for some far-off discovery. They're here, now, in your everyday choices, your relationships, your inner world. In the end, the real preparation for any kind of future, especially one filled with mysterious, not about technology or theories, but about heart. The values of kindness, humility, and unity aren't just nice ideas, they are survival skills for the soul. Keep your eyes wide open, but keep your feet on the ground. Because when the future knocks, how you answer will define not just what you believe, but who you truly are. Number 3. Let go of attachment to power. Let's talk about something that often goes unnoticed in our daily lives, but holds immense power over how we think, feel, and act: our attachment to power. You see, many of us may not sit on thrones or lead empires, but the desire to control, to be in charge, to feel significant or important, it shows up in subtle ways. Maybe in our workplace, in our families, or even in how we want our days to go exactly as planned. But here's the thing, the world around us is constantly changing. Leaders fall, empires crumble, and even the most influential names in history have eventually faded into the past. If we look deeply, we begin to see the truth. Nothing, no position, no title, no form of dominance lasts forever. The Buddha once said, "All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering." Isn't that something to reflect on? So, I want to ask you, what are you clinging to? Is there a title, a role, or a sense of control that you believe defines you? Because the more tightly we hold on to power, the more fearful we become of losing it. And fear, as you may have noticed, never leads to peace. It leads to anxiety, defensiveness, and often isolation. But what if true power isn't about holding on, but about letting go? Letting go doesn't mean weakness. It means having the inner strength to flow with change rather than resist it. It's choosing clarity over ego, service over dominance, and compassion over control. When we release our grip on power, something beautiful happens. We become more connected. We start seeing others not as threats, but as fellow travelers. We no longer need to prove ourselves constantly. And from this space, we begin to serve with an open heart. In fact, some of the most influential spiritual teachers and great leaders have pointed out that the highest form of leadership is service. Lao Tzu put it well. A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, "We did it ourselves." So how do we begin to let go of our attachment to power in everyday life? It starts with awareness. Notice when your desire to control kicks in, when someone disagrees with you, when things don't go as planned, or when you feel the need to dominate a conversation. In those moments, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? Often, it's the fear of being unimportant or unseen. But remember this, your worth isn't tied to your power over others. Your worth is inherent, and your peace is found not in the grasping, but in the releasing. Let this be a reminder. Life is always shifting, and clinging to what must inevitably change only leads to suffering. But when you can face this truth with courage, when you can let go of your need to control and instead act from a place of kindness and service, you tap into a power that no title could ever give you. A power that brings peace, humility, and true connection with the world around you. So I leave you with this gentle question: are you ready to trade control for peace and ego for service? Let's walk this path together, not seeking to be above, but to be with compassionately, courageously, and with a heart wide open. If this message touched something in you, I invite you to leave a simple comment below. I choose peace over control. Let's remind each other that true strength lies in letting go. Number 4. Prioritize health and human connection. One of the clearest lessons we learn in times of uncertainty, when the world feels shaken by pandemics, climate threats, or economic upheaval, is that health is not just a personal asset, it is our most precious form of wealth. Yet too often, we treat it as an afterthought, something to notice only when it begins to fade. True well-being is not only about a strong body, but also about a peaceful mind and a connected spirit. This is why we must prioritize health on all levels: physical, emotional, and spiritual. The Buddha once said, "To keep the body in good health is a duty, otherwise we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear." In today's fast-moving world, where technology constantly demands our attention and stress creeps into our homes through screens and headlines, maintaining that balance becomes both more challenging and more essential. We can support our physical health through good food, regular movement, and enough sleep, but equally vital is the health of our hearts and relationships. When fear begins to spread, especially during times of crisis or uncertainty, our best defense is not isolation or panic, but connection, genuine, heart-centered connection. This doesn't mean just being around others, it means being truly present with them. Mindfulness helps us show up fully in our relationships, just as compassion teaches us to listen not just with our ears, but with our whole being. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh wisely said, "The most precious gift we can offer others is our presence." When mindfulness embraces those we love, they will bloom like flowers. In these modern times, many people are surrounded by others but feel deeply alone. So, let us be the light that offers warmth. A phone call to a parent, sitting quietly with a friend in pain, or even smiling at a stranger, can be more healing than any medicine. These small acts, rooted in sincerity, remind us that we're not meant to walk through life alone. And still, even as we care for one another, we must also turn inward. Meditation is not a luxury for monks or mystics. It's a necessity for anyone who wants to meet the future with clarity. It is through stillness that we begin to understand our own fears, soothe our worries, and gain the clarity to act wisely. The Dhammapada tells us, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship. In other words, taking care of our health and our human bonds is not just preparation for a crisis, is a way of living with wisdom every day. Rather than waiting for the next warning bell or prophecy to jolt us into action, let us begin now. Let us live each day as if our health and our love for others were sacred because they are. By doing so, we cultivate inner peace that no external storm can easily shake. In a world where much is unpredictable, nurturing our health and human connection is not only wise, it's how we walk a steady path through the unknown. Number 5. Prepare with simplicity, not fear. When we think about the future, especially during uncertain times, it's easy for fear to take over. Economic struggles may knock on our door, jobs may become less stable, prices may rise, and savings may feel too small. But let's pause and reflect. Is fear truly helpful when challenges arise, or does it only cloud our thinking and shrink our spirit? The truth is, panic has never built anything, only clarity and calm have. So instead of letting worry take the lead, we turn to simplicity. This is not about deprivation or running away from responsibility. It's about stepping into a mindful way of living where we focus on what really matters. Can you look around your life and ask, what is essential? What can I let go of to bring more peace and less stress? Simplifying doesn't mean we lose weight, often means we gain space, energy, and freedom. We begin by living within our means, cutting unnecessary expenses, and being thoughtful about our needs. It means saving a little whenever we can, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, because preparing without panic is a sign of strength. It also means remembering that we are not alone. The heart that gives, even when times are tight, becomes a source of light for others. If we can share a meal, offer help, or just listen to someone in need, we're already creating a kind of wealth that no economy can measure. In times of hardship, a strong and generous heart will carry you further than a full bank account ever could. How can we support one another in these moments? What small actions can ripple out and bring comfort and strength to our community? Let's shift the focus from fear to connection. Simplicity brings clarity, generosity brings courage, and community brings resilience. So as you prepare for what may come, do so with open hands, not clenched fists. Be someone whose calm presence is a shelter for others. That is a true preparation, not just for economic hardship, but for life itself. The lesson here is simple yet profound. When fear invites you to close in, let wisdom guide you to open up with simplicity, with compassion, and with trust that you already have enough to begin facing whatever lies ahead. As we've explored the most chilling prophecies for 2025, one thing becomes clear: the future is not fixed. These warnings, whether true, symbolic, or misunderstood, are not meant to paralyze us with fear, but to awaken us with awareness. In the end, it's not about what Nostradamus or Baba Vanga predicted, it's about how we choose to live today. So let us meet the unknown with mindfulness, not panic. Let us prepare not just with supplies, but with compassion. And let us remember that the most powerful force we carry into any future is our shared humanity. If you found this video thought-provoking, please like, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming explorations into truth, spirit, and the mysteries of life. Until next time, stay wise, stay kind, and keep walking the path of understanding.